uncomfortable truth. Tonight's episode, we are going to be discussing all things Raheem Sterling. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you get those likes, and make sure tonight we've got plenty of live comments going on. Doctor Who, Sam, I imagine after my conversation, I'm just going to let you in. Little secret. I spoke to Ralph.
Yeah.
I told him how you felt last week.
Yeah.
If you remember, you're feeling rather depressed.
Yeah.
And we got to, mental health is a very serious thing. So I spoke to him, and I felt he delivered. He delivered.
He delivered points, but not performances. But I'll take it. I'll take points over a good performance any day. Any day.
See that, ladies and gentlemen. It's effectively a big rivalry. Man United leads, and we pumped him 4-2, and Sam still isn't happy. Forget it.
I'm happy with
Forget
the
it.
win. I'm happy with I'll take the win all day, every day.
Yeah.
See, because I'm sick of Leeds. Okay, I'm sick of this narrative of Leeds. Oh, they lost 5-2, but they play such great football, such a great team. It's like at some point you just have to be like, if you're not winning games, is your football really that good? Like,
no, really?
I agree. Isn't the best football the football that helps you win titles, helps you win trophies? Like, maybe it was good for the championship, but the Premier League is a different is a different ball game. Like, you can't just not defend. Like, you let Maguire score from a set piece. That from that point on, you just have to write yourself off to relegation. Like, 140 attempts, no goals, and the one time is against Leeds. Like, they have to just look at themselves and just take their L.
Yeah, well, be that as it may, but as you said, we want to talk about winners.
Yes,
and tonight,
real winners.
Tonight we want to talk about Raheem Sterling. Now, is Raheem one of the greatest Englishmen of his generation? I can feel it already. I can feel people going, whoa. Steady, easy, Jinky, easy. But hear me out. This is a guy who, at the end of the day, has won multiple trophies. He's an integral part to Pep Guardiola's success at Man City, and we'll dissect that further. But we have to have the conversation. Recent international tournament, he was the key man. People may talk about Harry Kane, and quite recently we did an episode on him. There's a lot of hype when it came to Jack Grealish. These kind of feel like the golden children. When it comes to Phil Foden. He gets the Gaza haircut. All of a sudden, everyone's patriotic. But let's talk about Raheem. Raheem was the one who was getting the key goals in, the clutch moments. Arguably, well, actually, not even arguably, he was the one that got you to the final in terms of like, hey, this is the moment you got the penalty, the drives that he was doing, the runs. And this is just the consistent thing I've seen from him. And he's been doing that for years. So let's have the conversation. What are your thoughts?
I think a lot of men are salty about Sterling because he is better than your left winger. Your winger that you prize the most, he's probably better than. So for United fans, like those whole Rashford and Sterling thing, I think they're just a bit salty about the fact that Rashford never really reached the levels of Sterling. Then you've got the Liverpool fans that are still salty about the fact that he left to Man City like that. They'll never let go. They're feeling bad about that. You've got the Spurs fans that think that Son is better. I don't see it personally. Like you've got the Arsenal fans that are upset that he never joined Arsenal because he's an Arsenal fan. Like, I feel like he's managed to upset all the fan bases with how good he is. I think that's like the true testament of a player. When you've got like rival teams so salty that you're bagging so many goals, winning all these trophies, that they're looking for anything to take him down, anything at all. and it's like he's just like I've seen like the nicknames for him, Raheem Shillings. I was like, oh,
Raheem
like
Shillings.
they didn't respect him, and like, but like you can't like I didn't like when it's all said and done, he's probably got more trophies than your club has in the past 5 years,
Mm.
and I don't think he's complaining.
And this is the thing for me. When we look at Raheem Sterling, this was a player that we saw very early on in his career.
Mm.
He was doing bits for England youth level, getting crazy amount of goals in one game. Then there was Liverpool. He was doing bits in their FA Youth Cup, which then he got rewarded and being in the senior squad. He actually ended up being what I feel was a big player for Brendan Rodgers in that season where people talk about Suarez and Sturridge.
Yeah.
You have this young gun coming in, getting some crazy goals, and you're thinking, oh, okay, who's this guy? Manchester City, who, let's be honest, are the beacon when it comes to bringing in young talent or the next up and coming talent, pay big money for him.
Yeah.
And since then, you could, and ultimately, he made a footballing decision, which people need to respect here. He wanted to train with the likes of Aguero and the likes of David Silva and learn his trade. At that point, what were Liverpool doing? They were selling their best players. They were selling your Suarez's, Coutinho's, etc. And dare I say it, because now you probably feel a bit foolish, but Jordan Henderson compared to David Silva or Aguero. Okay, Henderson's done well for himself. I'm not
in
going to make
terms
this
of like he's not David Silva. Like,
yeah, he's done well now, but at the time where Liverpool were, this was a guy who was arguably looking to be sold.
Yeah.
So, you know, testament to Henderson in that respect. But Raheem wanted to go to that next level. And from that point, he's won 3 Premier Leagues, an FA Cup. If I'm not mistaken, he's probably won 4 Carabao Cups or the Man City Cup.
Yeah, bro, at this point.
And, you know, quite recently has got into a Champions League final. With England, got into a European final. So this guy is competitive. He seems to be consistent with a lot of good performances when it comes to his teams. Not to mention, and I will say this, Raheem Sterling probably wasn't seen as a big player in the 2018 World Cup. But in terms of the most dangerous player going, it was always Raheem Sterling. He was always the biggest threat. All the chances came from him. Bearing in mind that everybody was looking at Harry Kane because he was the one that was getting goals. But you look at the actual 90 minutes and performances, the only thing that he was essentially missing were those goals.
It's weird with Sterling because it's weird because there's a thing with football fans nowadays, especially with forwards. If you're not scoring or assisting, you're automatically an awful player. There was like, so for example, a lot of people say like Giroud also had a bad World Cup because he didn't score or assist. I think got 1 assist, but people don't realize that what Sterling does in a team off the ball, because you have to realize on the ball, like especially for forwards, you don't spend that much time on the ball. Majority of the game is spent off the ball. I think like on average, the average football player, I think it's like 7 minutes.
Yeah.
And like, so what are you going to do for like 83 plus? And like what this guy does in terms of the movement for attacking plays, decoy runs, the pressing, the absolute insane work rate he has and what he offers to your team. As in, your team feels afraid to push forward because he's there. Because he knows that he's got that instant, because his acceleration could just easily just skip past people and that's it. And I'm seeing him do that to multiple teams, he's been doing it for years now, and people don't really want to accept the fact that like his off the ball stuff is almost as important, if not sometimes more important, than his on the ball work.
But where does the hate come from? For you, where did it start? Because there's always that question mark when it comes to Raheem Sterling.
For me, it's I told you, it's saltiness. These guys are salty.
Yeah, but what are they? Yeah, but what are they? What do you think they're salty about?
There's okay, so United fans are salty about Rashford and project that onto Sterling because they all thought Rashford was going to take over. Because when Rashford first came in, everyone thought this is the guy. He's going to be the person to take England forward. Like everyone, especially in the world, like people were saying after the World Cup, oh, Rashford would have scored those goals. Rashford would have he would have squared it. Like Kane would have squared it to Rashford, stuff like that.
Mm.
And like people were like really getting on him because he just wasn't like because like they wanted Rashford to be that guy. So that's why United fans are upset because Sterling is in the position that Rashford should have been in. Like that Euros should have been Rashford's Euros, but it's Sterling's, and they're upset about that. For Liverpool, they're upset that he left. They call him a snake, which is kind of weird because the situation behind that wasn't actually on him, but like each to their own. But they're really upset about the fact that he left and the manner in which he left. And then like other clubs are just like upset that like so like even Mane, like I you can respect Mane all you want, but you kind of have to put like, would you rather have Mane, who right now, yes, he had a good AFCON, but during the league hasn't been amazing, or Sterling, who's currently like doing a lot right now? So I think they're just upset because he's not their player, and like Arsenal fans are always upset about every player that does because apparently Arsene Wenger has scouted every single top player when they were like 2. Like you would think this guy, like the reason I must think the reason that this guy stopped winning league titles because he spent too much time trying to find these kids at 5 years old playing football and trying to sign them. Like it's not even like Arsenal fans are just salty that he never went to them, and it's like they just need to accept it. They need to accept it. Worst part is for and the main hate is the main like most English people that hate him is because they don't want to admit the best English player is actually from Jamaica. That's a really uncomfortable thought for them, that their best player isn't even born in England. I think they'll be uncomfortable about that.
Okay, yeah. No, I can definitely understand that point. I think from my point of view, I feel there is a media narrative, and we'll be a little bit careful in terms of how far we go with it. But this negative feel when it comes to Raheem Sterling, I believe started with Liverpool.
Yeah.
I don't think Brendan Rodgers. I think Brendan Rodgers is a massive reason behind all this because he tried to make out that this guy was going to sign a contract when there was never an option, or it was a very limited option. He sold it. It's like, yeah, he'll sign, and he put himself in the corner. And then he tried to make out that Raheem is this mercenary. How dare anyone want to leave Liverpool? Well, I'm pretty sure that actually if Raheem Sterling was at Liverpool now under Klopp with the things that they're doing, would he go? Probably not.
Yeah.
But it's all about what your club is doing at the time. Liverpool had a shot for the Premier League. They fucked it up. I'm just going to put it bluntly. Yeah, Gerrard slip. The Crystal Palace game. And they were selling their best players. Now, Liverpool have had a history for a long, long time of just selling their best players. They get to a point, they get to third, they get to second, and then they reset. Oh, well, let's sell that player on and let's start again. So that must be pretty demoralising for them. He's probably seen that. He's not a stupid guy. We've seen actually with his out of football media, if you want to, he's on the money, and we'll talk more into that later on. But Liverpool sold him out. They sold him out. The fans hated him, and we know for a fact that there's certain broadcasters, major broadcast outlets that are very pro Liverpool. So if the club aren't loving Liverpool, these media outlets are not, and that's where it starts. That's where it starts for me. So he's already behind the 8 ball when it comes to being that player, being that guy, being the golden boy, even though he is a golden boy winner.
Yeah.
How many Englishmen have had that award? You know what I mean? It's not many. It's not many.
Wait, I can't even. Did Owen win it?
That's a very good question.
I think that might be the last. I actually think that might be the last.
Well, he
Englishman.
definitely won a Ballon. Owen won a Ballon d'Or, but in terms of like
Golden Boy. I don't think like it hasn't. I don't think Golden Boy has been won by many Englishmen in general.
Guys in the live comments, who was the last? This quiz question: who was the last Englishman, or previous to Raheem, to get Golden Boy? I laugh. It was probably like the year before someone else did it.
Yeah, I like probably. I'm thinking probably like the most likely like wait, could it have been Wayne Rooney? Because that would make the most sense.
But that's the thing, though, isn't it? And you're talking a long time.
Which is still a long time ago. That's
yeah,
like
yeah.
I was still a baby at that point. So like that's a long time. And like this is the first guy to have literally gotten this far. Like even in terms of like Golden Boys, a lot of Golden Boys haven't been like the guy. Like you can talk about Balotelli, you can talk about Anderson didn't live up to his to his hype. You can talk about Balotelli. Yeah, he won some good like titles, but he wasn't the person everyone thought he was going to be. Götze, even recently, Martial, Renato Sanchez. Like you could even argue like João Felix, who like everyone was touting, oh, this guy's going to be better than Mbappe. He's like so much more technical. All this, he's been awful for Atletico, and like some for a Golden Boy to actually go on and push on and actually like do well and be one of the top players in Europe isn't really common nowadays. There's a like, and it's weird that because of one thing that isn't even his fault, he's now been tainted with this like black mark of we must hate him.
Well, you know, this is another thing, and I'm just going through some of the comments here, and it's touching upon something that you said, Sam, earlier. You know, just wanted to remind you lot, my boy Sterling is Jamaican, not English. Well, yes, he was born, but why can't he be both? Like he's explained a number of times why he has an affinity with England. Yes, he doesn't forget his roots, but he also appreciates what he's had since he's been in this country. He's also representing England. Do you know what I mean? So why can't he get that tag of being an Englishman? If you're going to represent England and all the trimmings that come with it, why not get the claim?
He don't fit the narrative. That's why. Like if we're being real, he doesn't quite fit like the poster. He doesn't look like the poster child for English football. Like there's been like they've won like if you've had someone like Beckham, who's like like a dreamboat with like the nice hair, he's got like the style, he's got the ability, like they want that kind of player to be their poster child.
Yeah.
For English football, and like Sterling just doesn't fit their particular like mold of what the poster boy should be, because they've even tried pushing like Foden recently as like England's golden boy, and like he's been like the whole Euros, like he had the haircut, the interview, all the gas. Like the guy was so cocky, thinking he was gonna show up. He literally thought he was gonna show up to Scotland and do that same goal.
Yeah,
that Gascoigne did, and then he ends up being overshadowed by Saka.
Just quickly, guys. Don't forget to the link in the description below. Make sure you click into it if you want to have your say on the show. As I said, it's all about Raheem Sterling. Do you think he should be considered the greatest Englishman of his generation? If you agree or if you disagree, please come in, have your say. Let's chew the fat on this one, because for me there has to be a conversation had. Sam, you were right. Wayne Rooney was the last English Golden Boy winner in 2004. So 10 points to Hufflepuff. That's your house, not Gryffindor.
That's too long ago.
You're Hufflepuff, bro.
Oh no.
but
Um,
but that's the thing. So we're quite happy to say Wayne Rooney, multiple league title winner with United, well, trophy. Raheem's done more, arguably, with England in terms of semi-finals,
finals.
the Nations League,
Yeah.
the Euros. He's done it more than Rooney. Don't get me wrong, Rooney is considered the greatest goal scorer ever, or maybe even the greatest English player ever,
Yeah.
because of the number of goals that he's got. But Raheem has actually done more with that. So again, we need to have that conversation. We were having that conversation again about Harry Kane. So it's there. We've got the media, the sort of genesis of perhaps the media hate. Do you think that the problem with football in this day and age is that there's too much obsession about aesthetics? There's no appreciation for what is essentially being clutch or efficiency. If you do it in an ugly way, people just kind of dismiss it. I feel like if you're easy in the eye, you got this that look, the way that you play, the style, that's always going to factor in more for you than just someone who actually does more in an ugly way.
I don't know, I don't know, because although you say that, you've got people that this, and people are going to get really mad about this. Sorry, Liverpool fans. Salah, who isn't incredible, like he gets great numbers, but he's not incredibly, like he's not great to watch. No offense to him. Like I'm pretty sure he doesn't care if he's getting like 30 goals a season. But yes, like Salah's not great to watch, but like people rate him so highly. You've got Angel Di Maria, awful player. I honestly, half the stuff he does never works. No, 70% of what he does never works. But you'll get the one clutch goal, and everyone's screaming over him. Like that Copa America final, he only scored the goal. He wasn't good the game. He wasn't good during that game, but everyone's like screaming over him. So it's really weird. I think it's with Sterling. It's the fact because people just don't. I think because people just don't want to like him. People are always looking for a reason not to like what he does, which is like I don't understand why we can't appreciate footballers nowadays. I think it's also because he's at Man City.
Well,
if you look at
so what? Because Man City, the lack of exposure, because ultimately they as a club don't get as much traction as say a Manchester United or an Arsenal.
Yeah, like if he was doing this at United, he would have a lot more respect than he currently does now.
Do you think? Well, this is the thing. So do we believe when you look at Raheem Sterling, because we want to have a bit of balance to this debate. Is he the guy that if you put in another team, improves that other team? And guys who are watching and beyond this, if you're watching afterwards, do you think Raheem Sterling is that good that he can go into any other team and improve them?
Most teams, yes. I don't know if I'd say any other. Majority of teams, yes, he elevates them to a new level. People are kind of blinded by like the City system and think that he just does this like the back post tap-ins and stuff like that. Like there was one season where like that was the like it was him and KDB, that same goal repeated again and again. But that's just because of like that's the way Pep likes to do his football. He likes his football very like formulaic, keep getting the same goal until like everyone's sick of it.
Yeah.
But if you like you look at him for England and you look at him what he, like his rawness in Liverpool, and you can still tell like he's got like that natural just football brain and just wherewithal that he just knows where to be, how to move. He's not wasteful in any of his actions on the football pitch, and like he's got incredible stamina as well. But I think that's one thing that's quite underrated about him. He's generally his stamina is extremely good. It's extremely good, and I can see. Because if you even if you look at him when he got taken off in the Euro final, he could have continued playing. And people are like, oh, he looks shattered. No, he's just upset that he's not good. Like he can't carry on.
Yeah.
Like the
Well,
guy could have definitely, like the guy's just he's in. It's weird. It's just weird for him because I feel like he's just not going to. He does improve most teams because he's actually got very. I think people just don't want to see that he's actually a very good dribbler. He's not very clinical, but he will always he'll get in the right place enough times that he will be able to get those goals anyway.
Well, and I think this is perhaps where it goes against Sterling when it comes to these high sort of level conversations of where is this guy in terms of the pecking order, it being the very best. And there are arguments to be had about he does waste a lot of easy chances. I think he instinctive striker springs to mind. The less he has to think about these shots, the better. And I would kind of back that argument further when you say, actually, well, he doesn't really like taking penalties. This is a goal scorer who ultimately does not like penalties, and there's a lot of pressure when it comes into that. So I still feel that there is an aesthetics aspect to it. I've heard lots of Man City fans even say, like, he runs as if he's a T-Rex.
Yeah, he's got the T-Rex arms.
He's got his T-Rex arms, bum sticking out, like he's a booty dancer. Do you know what I mean? Like these are weird things to just pick up on when this is a guy who's ultimately winning, and maybe this is where football is perhaps being ruined because we're so obsessed for the look now.
Yeah.
We're obsessed, your Jack Grealishes, your Frenkie de Jongs, De Ligt in terms of defenders, like Harry Maguire, because he can do long range passes, and you're thinking it's always about look. It's not necessarily about the thing that you're paid to do. Raheem Sterling is paid, well, in a Pep system, you're paid to do a lot of things, but he does it and he gets goals.
Yeah.
This is a guy who, at the end of the day, has outlived Sane.
Yep.
Now, people want to have conversations about Sane and say, "Oh, this guy he is the GOAT. He is this. He is that," and he is an incredible footballer. I do like Sane.
Yeah.
But ultimately, he wasn't overly fancied at Man City. Now they got good money for it, and I'm sure Bayern Munich aren't complaining about getting this guy. But the fact is, he is outlasted them. He arguably has been more influential to Man City's success than Kevin De Bruyne. Now, loads of people are going, I thought Jinky knew ball. I'm probably going to lose a load of followers, but hear me out. Man City's, 100-point season?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that was the year when he was injured, wasn't it, Kevin De Bruyne?
Yes.
And when it comes
no,
was that Liverpool one?
The domestic treble was KDB.
Domestic treble.
Yeah, because that's when Bernardo Silva started playing more in midfield, and everyone started crying over him.
You're right. You are right. And like he was missing. Raheem wasn't.
Yeah.
Raheem's getting goals after goals after goals after goals. Like it just kind of makes you wonder what does a guy who is a key contributor to one of the most successful teams, and actually there will be a show in the near future. I'm kind of glad that they sort of lost against Spurs, because I feel like we'll probably be having a conversation sooner. But please look out for whether Man City team, the Man City Pep team, is the greatest Premier League team of all time.
You're gonna
now. I know for a fact that Man United fans are gonna have plenty to say about it.
Yeah, you're gonna have Arsenal fans.
Arsenal fans, Invincibles. You're gonna get the Chelsea fans and all that. Oh, we only conceded 15 goals.
You're gonna get Liverpool fans saying, "Oh, we won it the quickest, therefore we're the best."
Liverpool fans ain't got nothing apart in this conversation. Not greatest anything. Greatest failures in defending their league title.
Did you not hear? Because they beat the greatest Premier League side, apparently the Centurions, then therefore by logic, because they beat them, then they're the best team. That's what I've heard from the fans. I'm not saying it's true, but that's what they've said.
But that's the thing, and I think that's you cannot argue this. These are the facts. He's a key contributor. Arguably, look out, for this show, but arguably one of the greatest English teams going,
Yeah.
and is also arguably involved in one of England's greatest teams under Southgate. Because yes, okay, they won a World Cup in '66, but you took at the consistency levels of England, they are regularly getting semi-finals minimum. When have they been able to say that beyond 90? They've done it in dribs and drabs, haven't they? This is a consistent run. So for me, that is a huge part. But guys, as I said, please please share this right now, because we want to have that conversation. Raheem, greatest Englishman going. Or greatest Englishman of his generation. I don't want to start winding up the 66 fans over here.
You're gonna have the 66 fans. You're gonna get a lot of people saying a lot of things. Yeah, I just want to mention something about the aesthetic quickly, because
sure.
This might be a controversial thing to say, but if you just go on YouTube and look at a clip of a young Rooney, Rooney is incredible, but he was like a bulldozer. He was like a mad dog. Like it wasn't, at times it wasn't pretty.
Yeah.
Like he would like bundle his way through aggressively, barging players. Like it wouldn't even, like, he's not even trying. At some points, he's not even looking like he's trying to dribble. He's looking like he's just trying to like run through people. But it was just so effective, and like everyone was just so intrigued by like this guy's like the absolute like sheer like balls on him. Like he just really like went for it, and like I feel like if that was today, if a player like that came through today, people would be like, oh, he's just like an aggressive guy. He's not really actually good. He's just violent, stuff like that. I think people are bothered with aesthetic a lot, because you get people that will now talk about Adama Traore because he dribbles so well, or they'll mention like Wilfred Zaha because he's got amazing dribbling, he's got amazing skills. They'll mention like, oh, Rashford's like skills are so amazing, and then these guys aren't winning. So I'm like, what? Like, it's great to have all these skills, it's great to have all these things, but if nothing's coming of it, then what's really the point? I think also Sterling at Liverpool wasn't just like his dribbling at Liverpool was amazing. Like people forget that. I think like he was actually a very, very good, like he was quite skillful. I think what Pep has done, Pep doesn't really, no offense to Pep, but Pep doesn't like people that dribble a lot. He doesn't like people to dribble too much or take things on their own. So that's why he had many bust ups with many players that would do stuff on their own, like Henry and stuff like that. So Sterling has now adapted his game to just be a more efficient player, and people don't like that. And now they're gonna hate on him. Granted, the criticism of him not being clinical, yes, that miss against Leon is dreadful. It's absolutely dreadful. Like he's like 3 yards out. That should go in 9 times out of 10.
But this is the thing. Why is it that this gets picked up? And this is kind of going back to the media issue when it comes to Raheem Sterling. I feel like there's been a lot of myths about this guy, in a similar way to Paul Pogba. The whole he's so flash and he's this, and as I say, what is this? A lie, gets halfway around the world before the truth puts on its boots. And I feel like people, whether they want to accept it or not, and as I said, this show is called The Uncomfortable Truth, they will listen to the papers, they will listen to broadcasters, and this is probably more aimed at the newspapers when it comes to Raheem Sterling.
Oh, definitely.
But there'll be newspapers. After Euro 2016, you had stupid things being picked up. Oh, I took him off because he was tired, and then people criticised him for being tired.
He's a kid.
Following the Euro 2016 exit, which was a complete disgrace.
Yeah, it was shocking.
Raheem Sterling bought his mum a house. And he looked at the controversy that came with that. Oh, look at him showing off whilst England have been disgraced, he's going out like getting bedazzled, bloody bathrooms and
which
this that.
is that's so
Ridiculous.
weird to me. It's so weird to me that they've picked him of all people. I was like, do you not remember what players did after the 2010 World Cup? Like, 2010 World Cup wasn't pretty. And yeah, you had the goal disallowed and all that kind of stuff like that. But like, these players have been doing, like, after loss and stuff like that, players would do lots of crazy, like, would get into bar fights, too much drinking, all this crazy stuff. And like, people are like, oh, why is he not? Like, why don't you get onto them, but you'll now hate on Sterling? That's just crazy to me.
Yeah. Here he is, Mr.
No.
Ministry Z, Mr. Composure himself.
What's up, lads?
What's up? Raheem Sterling. I kind of feel I know what your thoughts on this are, but for those out there, greatest Englishman in his generation.
Wait, to be honest, how it depends how you define it. Do you get what I mean? It depends how you define it. How I define it personally is by what the players achieved, and it's a conversation which could easily go out there, and people will probably say Kane. If Kane ends up winning something, people will probably end up saying Kane. But at the end of the day, it comes to why is Lampard regarded higher than Gerrard in terms of the Englishmen? That league title is important. So Kane would have to win multiple titles in order to surpass.
But that's the funny thing, Z, in the fact that all it takes is Kane to probably win one from a media narrative point of view. Yet that would probably be Raheem's fourth, arguably fifth, because they could win. They could win again this season.
He could win the Champions League as well.
Yeah, that's the thing. It will be his fourth. He could get a treble, and on top of that, like, let's be honest, right? Raheem Sterling, when you see the clubs that he's linked with, he's always linked with like the Real Madrid to Barcelona's. They could easily go there and win something there.
Oh yeah.
And not many English people, because we always talk about the Prem, like not many English people have gone abroad and been successful. There's been a few attempts. Do you get what I mean? So if he's able to go there to one of those big boys and become successful there, that's another point.
Just on the media question, because I think this is why ultimately people don't want to have the conversations in regards to Raheem. So, do you think he has ultimately put a target on his back because he has called out the media in terms of fueling, but let's just say biased media coverage, just to keep this a clean conversation? You know, he presented those screenshots of two Man City youth players, same circumstances, and how it was worded. Do you think that's, you know, he was lauded for it, and I must admit, if I ever see him on the street, I'd shake his hand for doing that. It was brilliant and brave. But ultimately, do you think that's where the media will distance themselves and maybe not talk about him so much, or give him that ultimate respect?
It's two, innit? In my opinion, innit? It's two, because how I look at it, right? I look at it in the sense of, one, obviously he went to Man City, some would presume early, quite young. And afterwards we'll look at the money, right? And then afterwards, obviously, he never had a great first season. And afterwards, obviously, the bigger factor is what you just presented, is the simple fact that he's taken on the media. I think that a lot of people aren't ready to have those kinds of conversations. And when you throw those conversations in, it becomes crazy. And after there's always this and that and this and that. I was having a conversation about this earlier on another channel. I was speaking to someone. I said Bruno Fernandes, for example. I said Bruno Fernandes and Muller, two perfect players that you can compare. Because when it comes to Raheem Sterling, people say he's not that great. He's not that great technically, right? And then afterwards, but that's what I say. Muller's praised for having a lack of technical ability, and after they talk about his high IQ because what he does comes off. Let's be honest, it's because it comes off. Raheem Sterling, because he ain't got the technical ability as, you know, say some of the other big boys, no one wants to praise his IQ. Like, it is that thing, and this is where I always say, okay, you know what? Is it also the fans? I don't think that situation comes from the media. That also comes from the fans comparing their players against them, because Raheem Sterling, if you actually look at his numbers in terms of the Premier League, he's actually contributed, and this is going to sound very controversial to a lot of people. It's going to make a lot of people actually jump off their seat. He's actually contributed to more Premier Leagues, been a bigger contributor to more Premier Leagues than Ryan Giggs. I know Ryan Giggs won 13. I know Ryan Giggs won 13. I know people ain't gonna like this. Is not me saying Ryan Giggs is not me saying Sterling's the better player. But go look at the numbers. Go look at the numbers. And even look at the performances. Look at the performances. Raheem Sterling is always at least top 3 performer every season that Man City win the league. Can we say the same thing about Ryan Giggs? And I just want to use someone who people define as iconic. Sometimes these conversations aren't comfortable, but it's the truth. I see people like Robert Pires, Freddie Ljungberg, and people would never argue, but have they done what Raheem Sterling has done?
Yeah.
No.
That's you know what? That's a very, very interesting point. Very, very interesting point that you've the Ryan Giggs is very poignant, because ultimately, why aren't we having scored? Just recently with his hat trick, he's scored more goals than Didier Drogba.
See, there we go.
And we know the conversations. Here we go, Chelsea fans penned in. We know the conversations that are had when it comes to Didier Drogba. And this will be a good one. I'm pretty sure. I'm fairly confident that Raheem's probably now got more club trophies than Didier.
Yeah. He might do. Let me just check that. He may.
I know what Chelsea fans' response will be. I know what they'll say.
They'll say that one CL, but this is the thing. This is the thing. Raheem Sterling. Right?
Hey, Wes Brown's got 2.
If I tell people Raheem Sterling is 27 years old, and let me break it down. Raheem Sterling is 27 years old, and at the club level, 3 Premier Leagues on the verge of a 4th, 1 FA Cup, 4 League Cups, 1 FA Community Shield. That is crazy. That is phenomenal, and he's only 27 years old. Like, to put that into context, right? To put that into context is, and this is why I love the title, The Uncomfortable Truth, because I'm about to really, 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 really get people going right now, right? Raheem Sterling has more Premier League titles than, if he wins this year, he has more Premier League titles than Cristiano Ronaldo. Yeah. And in terms of total titles, if he wins this year, he's only going to be 3 behind Cristiano Ronaldo in terms of league titles.
Oh no.
Do you get what I mean?
Oh no.
And it goes to, it's like, and I'm even gonna go crazy because I love just rattling people right now. Today I've been in the mood for it. And he's got more Premier League titles than Thierry Henry, who's branded as the best Premier League player of all time.
Guys, the uncomfortable truth. We don't just want to talk shit for talking shit's sake. We back it up with facts, and this is it. This is why we want to have the conversation. Then, in a nutshell, Sam, what are your thoughts on that? I feel like you're licking your lips more than bloody Ronaldinho at this point.
It's an uncomfortable one, because he's won. The thing is, you could argue for it because he's actually won more than these players, like won more league titles, and you can't say he was just like a passenger. He was one of the main contributors, if not the main contributor, to each league title.
Yeah.
So then you have to kind of acknowledge that, he's actually doing a lot more than people are giving him credit for. Like,
which is why Sam, I must admit, like, this is why I find the narrative, the media narrative, so weird, because they just don't want to have that. It's always someone else. It's either Kevin De Bruyne, it's either Bernardo Silva. Do you know what I mean? There's always, it's now Phil Foden. It's come to Jack Grealish, by the way, £100 million guy. I feel like I've got the agenda here, but I just want to call out the consistency with this. There are players out there who have been bought for far less money, doing far more, that get double the criticism. What's Jack Grealish done? Yeah, Jack Grealish will have a couple of clutch games, and then all of a sudden he's seen as better than Raheem Sterling. And that's the awkward part of all this. It's bizarre. It's very, very bizarre.
Yeah. I'll also go one further. But like I said, right, Raheem Sterling, I'm gonna put out there first of all. Someone name me 10 wingers better than Raheem Sterling that's played in the Premier League.
Ooh. That's better.
Anyone?
Let's wait a minute. Before we fall into this trap, I feel like Z's doing a Rambo at this moment in time. He's round the woods. He's digging the traps. Better in what way?
Everything.
Everything.
You can't just, because if for example, right, I could tell you lot Robert that used to play for Newcastle was better than a lot of wingers. You get what I mean? I could say Robert. I could say Solano was actually better. Like,
guys, come with your
Sam has to Google this at this point.
Yeah, some of these men are big.
This is what's crazy. I went alive for them. I see people getting real giddy over wingers now. I see people talk about McNeil, all of these players, right?
There you go. Here's one that will create a conversation piece. And the funny thing is, I know you'll kill it straight away.
Jesus Christ of Nazareth. Jeez. Listen. I'll tell you this, right? I'm going to tell you this for free, right? If, right, Martial is probably one of the most disappointing golden ball winners in the world, right? And then after this is what I mean.
One Anderson.
No, Anderson won stuff though.
Yeah, you got me. You know what I've done. Yeah,
one Champions League. We can't really hate that much. He played in that run as well.
I'm gonna be real, right? I'm gonna be real. I put Raheem Sterling. If Raheem Sterling gets that Champions Leagues, Raheem Sterling has to be regarded top 5. He has to be regarded top 5.
What? In what is in England, UK, or Prem?
In terms of the Prem.
Top 5 players ever.
I think he comes top wingers.
Wingers.
I think he comes in there. He has to be top 10, the top 5. I think he's top 10 already. I think he's there already. But I would definitely say what's it called? Like I'm seeing in the chat that people are talking about
Rashford.
Salah. I'm not Salah. Yeah, Salah's there. You can't argue it. I see someone saying Rashford. Listen, I spoke about IQ in this thing. Rashford does not qualify for the conversation. I spoke about IQ. I don't get this, but
Rashford's fighting it out with Martial at this point.
This might be an uncomfortable one for some people, but if Sterling wins the Champions League, could you then potentially put him above Eden Hazard?
I think he's already better than Eden. I think Eden's. I think he's already better than, because like I said, Raheem Sterling's worst year was about 30 goal contributions. Eden's worst year was at 5 goal contributions. So like, do you get what I mean? So I think he's better than him already. Like I think whether people like it or not, right? I've seen people like Jack Grealish get compared to Gaza without having accomplished anything. Raheem Sterling, if he wins that Champions League and he carries on winning league titles at City, and he probably wins another Champions League, he's gonna go past that conversation, the Gaza conversation and the Lineker conversation, because he's gonna be looking at Rooney. And then people are gonna come at me right now in the chat, or other people who are watching this back will be like, "What do you mean he's gonna go the Gaza conversations?" Rooney undoubtedly is England's best player of all time, when we talk about success,
Yep.
we'll talk about the stats.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean about Raheem Sterling's going to enter that conversation. Because if he manages to, continue his goal rates, continue the assists, and then he wins the Champions League, he's averaging his 20 plus GA, everything, he got to take into consideration he's 27. That's the conversation he's going to enter.
He could
Well,
also World Cup as well. He could also that's coming.
No, that's not happening.
You ain't ready for that conversation. Z will be flying back to God knows where at this point.
Hey, as soon as I hear, listen. Anyway, listen. Great. Hope the Queen gets better. I want to put that out there since we spoke about the World Cup. Wishing a speedy recovery to Liz herself. Since we spoke about the World Cup. Yeah. How's the weather up there for everyone? How's the weather up there for everyone?
Stormy like United season.
Oh.
but go ahead.
No, you are right. I'm still trying to rack my brains. I'm trying to find a player that ultimately. Why? How wide forward is Raheem a winger or wide forward? Because you get that whole technicality. I would say Omri would be better, but then you've got the argument. And it's something that we can't argue. If we actually go back to what the whole conversation was about Greatest Englishman, well, what's the competition?
Exactly. Like I'll revisit like Lampard, Gerrard, and Scholes. We always knew that Lampard out of the three is the least. But what got Lampard his respect? Consistency, hard work, and commitment. Why are these things downplayed over eye tests? Because nowadays, even when people are talking about eye tests, the players that were excited about the eye test, they're not that good anymore. Like, eye test for me, right? People talk about the eye test. I'm talking Brazil. I'm talking watch it when that samba song come on the television. I'm talking that's eye test. I'm talking about
we're talking Neymar, Barca days, Ronaldinho,
the Nilsson, Rivaldo, R9, like Thierry Henry, even like Zidane, like that's this eye test that people talk about. They think it's just a step over. Oh, you done a step over, beat him. All right, cool. He hits the eye test. No, mate, sorry. I think Raheem Sterling's there.
I honestly think right now this is how crazy people have been poisoned by the narrative of Raheem Sterling. Rafinha at Leeds. I guarantee right here, right now, that fans will say that he's better and more clutch than Raheem Sterling.
How?
Yeah, you go there, but you got to remember. Even look at what's his name. Adama Traore has gone to Barcelona. I just call him a fufu Dan James. Obviously, for the African members, they know what fufu is, innit? So I just call him a fufu Dan James. No. So like, this is what it is. Like, it just don't make no sense. Like, it makes no sense.
We've got another
Peace,
caller.
guys. I've got to go. Yeah.
So Z, all the best, dude. Yeah. As one goes out, another one shall follow. So we got KOC. I think we spoke last week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Yeah, happy to be here, bro. I heard someone calling out Drogba, so I had to come on.
Oh, yeah. I feel like this is a thing for you now, isn't it? Like, if a Chelsea player, I'm assuming you are. Yeah, you must be a Chelsea fan from the comments last week. Yeah, Drogba. Well, facts are facts. He's got more goals than Didier Drogba.
Raheem Sterling should be playing for my country. He's actually a sellout because he should be playing for Jamaica, but England stole him. So when you not say he's the best Englishman when he's actually Jamaican, where he should be playing for the country, makes no sense.
Well, okay, but he feels that he should represent England. So
it's his choice. Why, they didn't hold him.
Yeah, surely personal choice has to come into it. Why is he a sellout if his mum took him to UK or England in this case?
Jamaica, bro. The guy just wanted to win a lot, so he just switched to England, bro.
He wanted to win a lot.
But when did England? When's the last? He's probably never seen England win anything though. He's never seen England.
I swear you're the same guy who in the live comments are talking about how England are pants. So what's winning got to do with it?
Like Sterling's he's a winner, bro. He won a trophy against City, loads of trophies for City, bro. He's a winner, bro. So he's not gonna want to play for Jamaica because he knows he's gonna be the only best player on the team. He doesn't. He's so boring. He doesn't want to play for his country. He wants to win because England have all the top stars. He doesn't want to play for Jamaica. But
No.
he knows.
Hey,
the players.
what other? Okay, just quickly, just sort of like digressing from the subject. What other players are you butthurt about when it comes to that?
Hey, actually, I got a question.
Yeah,
Sterling or Kai Havertz?
bro.
Nah, okay, he's about to say Sterling there. He was about to say Sterling. I heard it. We've got it recorded.
You heard him. We heard him.
But not this Kai Havertz. He's still a top talent, bro. I still think he's generational. So you know.
Okay, but okay, because I take it, Casey, you're from Jamaica, yeah?
Yeah.
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 That aside, because he has pledged his allegiances to England, would you consider him the greatest Englishman of his generation?
Yes, 100%, bro.
There you go. nice and easy there.
It just annoys me that he doesn't play for my country. It kind of breaks my
Hey,
heart.
bro, there is a long list of
Bro, it's
players,
me and
and
Saka as well.
we're I'm quite happy to do a Twitter space on that subject. But let's not just pin it all on Raheem. There's plenty of players who could have represented Jamaica, but didn't.
Exactly.
But Casey, thanks for your call, dude. And I no doubt if I slander a Chelsea player, I'm sure you'll be on.
Yes, especially if it's any Kai Havertz slander, I'll be on.
Oh well, you'll be on every week then. All right, cheers, buddy. Thanks for your call. All right, guys. That's I think that probably takes us nicely to the end of the show. Before we go, please make sure that you follow the ministry, not only the ministry web on Twitter, on Instagram. Got myself, Jinky Knows, on both both platforms, and Doctor Who Sam 7. You forgot there. But yeah, Doctor Who Sam 7 on IG. So yeah, please share this video. Please put a comment on it. What are your views on Raheem Sterling?
Yeah,
I'm going to stick my neck out there and I'm going to say that he is the greatest Englishman of his generation, and that's purely down to all the success he's had, because ultimately your career is defined by the trophies that you keep, and he has had plenty. Now compare that to anybody else around his age, the conversations that we're having, Harry Kane even, he's had the most. So for me, he gets the nod. Sam, one final thought from you?
I would say, yeah, I don't know about the absolute best, definitely up there. I think the most important, the whole City, for some reason, a lot of City players aren't rated very highly, and that's gonna like cloud a lot of people's judgment. Like it's not just him that gets it; he gets it. Kyle Walker gets it as well. Like they all get like the weird slander, like oh they went to Man City to like and they're not that good, which to me doesn't make sense. I think we could come back to this in about, I don't know, 5 years, and this conversation would now be changed from is it of his generation, from is he the greatest Englishman of all time? That it could potentially happen. Especially, personally, I don't believe it will happen, but if by fluke chance England win the World Cup, then we're gonna have serious conversations about Sterling's career, Sterling's like numbers, everything about him, and how much he's contributed to just to his club, to his country. Like the guy, yeah, I'd probably say like top. I'd say probably right now he's definitely up there. I don't know about the best. I think there are other players that have shouts. Like
who are the other players then?
The only player really to me that has a shout right now is currently Trent Alexander-Arnold, because of the sheer amount of like absolute ridiculous things he's been doing. Like I think Sterling's been doing it for longer, but Trent Alexander-Arnold's seasons so far have been absolutely ridiculous. And like winning a Champions League as well, which Sterling hasn't done yet. If Trent carries on like this, he would I think it would be a whole. I think he might overtake. But I think right now it's kind of like around the same level to me.
Yeah,
around the same level, because the absolute peak of the last, the guy's only 23 and he's looking to like get the all-time assist record with the kind of numbers he's pulling up now. So
yeah. Okay, no, that's fair. Trent Alexander-Arnold, I feel like that's a conversation to perhaps have on a future show, because there's a lot of right back or full back talent just in the Premier League alone, and he is producing big numbers. So watch out, guys, for that one. But for now, thank you for tonight's show. Please make sure you hit that like button. Honestly, just jab on that. We want to get those likes, and please share. And as I said, we want to get your thoughts on Raheem Sterling. But for me, it's good night. I hope it's not too stormy where you are, Sam. We'll see you next week. And
Definitely.
guys, all the best. Take care.
See ya.